Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Time is something strange. It seems to be very elastic. Sometimes you're amazed how much time has passed. Sometimes we are waiting the time to pass and it seems not to go on very slowly. There is that, let us say, the physical or by empirical time, and that we cannot deny. It makes tick tock, 1 second at a time, goes on and on. We can measure it. And yet we are creating something else in our mind, a mental time, a biological time. The experience is only now, and now is timeless. But then we are hanging on to the memories and creating a mental time. And it can be a terrible burden doing so. We are holding on to memories, emotionally attached, feeding prana, the life energy, into them, and creating a reality, and then creating the idea of that much time has passed. And it's something that we are doing to ourselves in our mind. That mental time is totally relative and mind created. And we can just simply learn to stop doing so. Doesn't mean we have to lose our memories. We just have to learn not to be attached to them, not to feed our life force into them. And then the mental time, as we have created it before, disappears, and there is only that timelessness of the now. I remember when I came to Amma, I was so impatient. I had an idea of something that I want, and I was so impatient. And if I remember really clearly, then it's obvious that I created a lot of pain by creating that mental time. I wanted something and it didn't happen. And then as the time was passing, the physical time, the tick-tock, there I was holding on to that idea for that much time. I have tried and I'm not getting, and that hanging on to that idea that I have tried for so long time, that I have done so much and nothing is happening. That was really the one thing that was creating pain, that was making me suffer. Instead of just relaxedly be in the present from moment to moment, doing the same that I have been doing, but without always thinking, oh, it's never getting anywhere. I'm trying and trying. It goes on and on. I could have spared me all that pain by simply not creating that mental time, holding on to the past, thinking, poor me, has been struggling, feeding so much energy into that and creating a reality that the memory doesn't deserve to have. It's just a memory. Nothing wrong having a good memory. Okay, it's now 1 year past, 2 year past. I remember 3 years ago what happened. Great. That memory can be very useful, that we can use the wisdom of it in a practical way now. But that emotional weight that we are putting in them, that is what makes us suffer a lot. Sometimes I was in a state because of that I thought, oh God, again a day has passed. It seems nothing goes on, nothing is happening. I try. It was just that idea of time. If I had not done so, simply, relaxedly done my practice, I could have gone playfully, joyously through that without always creating that heaviness, that pain, that frustration of wanting something, not getting, and then thinking, oh my God, so much time I have tried. Let us not live like this. Be here, be now, here, now. We are not creating suffering. Here now, we may face difficult circumstances. We may face nice circumstances. It changes. It's sometimes nice, sometimes difficult, but it doesn't create suffering if you are not holding on to the whole red tail of the story and think, ah, this has happened, that has happened, and it's still happening. And like that, we are just burdening ourselves with something that we are simply creating ourselves in our mind, and we need not do so. We cannot deny the passage of the physical time. I mean, only a mad person can do so. Like tick, tock, second after second. But that mental time that pulls the attention out of that awareness of the timelessness of the now is something that is not necessary to create. And if we are not having that understanding, we have the tendency to go on and on a whole lifetime long, always holding on to all those things that are nagging, things that happened to me, that people did to me, things that I did that were not nice. So many things that we can hold on and turn around and round and round, and it feels so heavy and painful. And we simply can drop all that and not do it and use the memories as a storehouse of useful information that we just can apply in the present circumstances whenever it's necessary. You are timeless. Here now is timeless. Here now is no suffering. Even if the circumstances are not nice, they may be painful sometimes, but that heaviness that we are creating by holding on to the memories, forming that mental time and creating a heavy burden, that is simply not there if we bring the attention back home to the timelessness of the present. Here, now, we are touching reality. All else are thoughts. or else are all else are memories or anticipations for the future, which is usually also the past, just a bit transformed in a nice way as we like it and projected in the future. Let's live now, free of the past, free of the anticipation, consciously alive, consciously connecting with the timelessness of the now. And then life is free of suffering, no matter what the circumstances. There are so many possibilities, especially right now, that we face not nice circumstances. In so many places, people are really having a very hard time. If they could live in the present, then they could face the hard time and make use of it to drive their attention that much deeper into their own resources and not suffer, even if the circumstances are dire, because the suffering comes out of holding on to our ideas of the past and the future and our ideas how it should be, and then it is not as we like it should be. Here now is no suffering. Bring the attention back home to that timelessness of the now, and you are living playfully, joyously, no matter what is happening. Okay, my friends, I stop talking just by myself. I'm asking you, is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome to do so.
Werner.
Hello, Maria.
Hello. Fascinating that you start with this topic, because that was precisely my question about time.
Oh, yeah.
I thought about it a couple of days ago. I thought I had to ask Werner about this thing about not having time, that thought. And you've just given a really good introduction on that. And I'm guessing what you are going to tell me, but it's again, it does make a difference when you say it again. And when I address you personally. So I would say that is one of the most challenging thoughts I have, really. I mean, there is no time. I won't have time. That's the fear. Yeah, triggers the fear. And then I go into full action.
Yeah.
Running around.
Yeah.
Doing this, doing that, doing that. And I mean, the good news is that I'm much more aware now, much more aware than I was before. Before I was doing it without knowing and believing it.
Yes.
And now I don't believe it, but I still do it. So somewhere I must believe it, probably. But I wanted to ask you whether it is, because I'm really determined to go through this one to resolve something here, because it's such a source of stress. And so what I've decided now is at weekends, cutting down really on the level of mental activity, things that I used to prepare to, paperwork, and I am much more into giving myself space to do very simple things like cleaning, cooking, but more time of not having to do something, not having to finish something which is related to mental work. And what I find the most challenging is that at one point my mind starts scheduling and says, okay, it's 9:45, so I have half an hour. In half an hour I could do this, and then the other thing will take me about 1 hour, and so on. So how can I train myself to let go of that pattern? Is scheduling in my head,
Yes, I mean, it is not basically wrong on the practical level that you have an idea today, at this time I'm going to this, at that time I'm going to do that. But then the pressure that we have the tendency to put on top of it is not necessary. That the anxiety, maybe I'm going to be late, maybe I have no time to get there, maybe I have no time to prepare what needs to be prepared. And with that anxiety, we are already not simply on the physical level having an idea, clearly scheduling, okay, now this and this is going to happen, that and that is going to happen, but then we are emotionally creating a space, a living fake reality that is not there. It's still in the future. It's a possibility. And then if you see to do that, there you turn the attention back and say, hey, look, I'm doing it again. Look what it is doing. Observe how it is affecting your experience right now, what it is doing to you physically, energetically, and relax. You can have your schedule, and then, okay, the schedule is there. If it doesn't work out exactly like this, so what?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Planning basically is not wrong as long as we are not getting obsessed with it and fixed with it and afraid that it may not work out. You have anyhow not a real control over it, whether it works out or not. So you can put it there, all right, this is going to happen, but then after that, uh, be in the present, and then sometimes the schedule is unrolling as thought, and many times not. And then, so what? You're living from moment to moment without putting that weight of anxiety, whether it's going to work out or not.
yeah. You know, when I've tried sometimes and it has worked very well the day before, but I have to be in very quiet space to think, broadly speaking, what needs to be done for the following day.
Yes.
And sometimes it's been amazing. The experience is like somehow it's as if I am well connected and I understand what the priorities are, and then I put it on paper, and then it gets easy. But then there are many other times where that's not the case, and then I go into the micro. The micromanagement is what stresses me.
Yeah, right. And that most of the things that you're doing, you know how to do them. You have been doing them many times. You don't have to turn them round and round and round in the head. It's
No,
just a
I
habit.
don't. Yeah,
And there, when you catch yourself doing that, there you can put the brakes. Hey, come on, bring the attention home, breathe, relax, see the thoughts that want to come, see the emotions that they are creating, and then relax. Don't buy into the story.
thank you. I needed to hear that again. Yeah, I'm going to practice. Yeah, seriously.
It's liberating. It's worth the trouble to
Yes,
practice. Yes.
yes. Otherwise, it's an endless, really, anxiety running the show. Yeah, and there is what I've discovered as well is that some of the anxieties, because some of the activities are connected to other people,
Mm.
you know, to having things on time for other people, and or the repercussions, some not minor, but and so is again is free myself from sometimes perhaps not pleasing somebody, you know,
Mm.
um, and being centered enough not to be so worried about what the reaction of the other person is going to be. Yeah,
I mean, if you have people involved, if you can hold your appointments, it's nice.
of course. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
uh, I try to be punctual when I make an appointment with somebody, but if it's not working out, then you can also think, all right, then I come and give the explanation and an apology, and that's that. What's the big deal? Huh?
Yes.
Instead of thinking, what are they going to feel about me and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is to keep the big picture. I would like to feel, to move more within the big picture of life.
Yes.
Not so much into the minor details that, as you say, so what sometimes I do absolutely try to be punctual and to fulfill my fundamental duties, that's for sure. But is then I tend to add
Yes.
a lot of extra things. And I come from also a family that has a very, very active, very, very active. So it's as if you are not doing, again, you are not functioning well.
Right.
So it's a big...
That's a conditioning one can let go and just
Yeah.
learn to live instead of to think about living.
Yes, good.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Werner. That helps a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari-Om.
Hari-Om.
Hari-Om. I see a camera open. Hello, Ravi.
Hi. Hello. Good to see you. So, wow, yes, this topic of time and my last week has been very much, my patterns of being have been triggered around planning and obsessively planning. So I completely relate to the topic today. So it's been helpful. Thank you. I did a meditation retreat couple of years ago, and it was online through Zoom, and it was through the Art of Living Foundation. I don't know if you've heard of, you must have heard of it. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar is the guru in India.
Oh, yes, yes, right.
And he came online at the very end of it, and he said, just before everybody said goodbye, he said, and just remember, good things will come. And I thought it was a funny thing to say, because it was talking about the future.
Yeah.
And it's more about living in the present. But it didn't, I wasn't thinking of it from a space of judgment. It was like, oh, that's interesting. And I kind of feel like, so I've got a question around that too, because that also applies to the concept of time. But I kind of felt that what he was saying is, where often our minds are bogged down in anticipating problems in the future, and he was just saying, relax, it's okay, you're taken care of, good things will happen, unfold and come into your life. Is that something that particular knowledge, is that something that just, like I've noticed lately when I find myself getting stuck in planning and being obsessive, there's obviously the tightness is there. And then I go, good things will come. I don't need to get involved in the planning in order to feel security. I can just stay open to, it's all good. I can relax. I'm taken care of. Is that a helpful piece of knowledge to kind of spontaneous, to remind oneself in that moment, as well as, I mean, that in itself kind of creates a level of relaxation, but is that how one would apply that knowledge?
I'm sure that's why he said it, for that purpose, that if people get that reassurance, good things can happen, good things are going to happen, the tendency to worry will be less. But that doesn't mean we have now to do the opposite and become obsessive about trying to somehow bring about the good things or hoping desperately the good things. But if the thought helps us to let go of the worries, because people most of the time worry about the future. And if the thought comes and say good things are going to happen, or you will be protected, or you will be supported, that thought can help you to relax those worries, and relaxing those worries makes it easier to bring the attention home to the present. The life is still in the present. We don't have to be obsessive about the good things that are supposed to come, but if the idea helps us not so much to get locked into that process of maybe it doesn't work, maybe it's getting worse and worse, maybe all these worries, then that thought is good, but not in itself something to get hooked into it again, but just as a help to let go of the worries, the negative thoughts, that makes it easier than, okay, be here now. And here now there is no worry. Here now there is no problem. Everything that helps you to bring the attention easier to that is good. And I'm sure Ravi Shankar has said that with that intention to help people to relax a bit more about the future instead of worry.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. So the other thing I wanted to know, I mean, I wanted to know about the subconscious. And I guess I'm asking this question because, you know, I'm finding it's much easier for me to drop into that special space within where I feel very blessed, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I have moments like that throughout my life, throughout my day, quite a bit. But then sometimes I have some patterns like this planning thing, and they really take over. And I feel that, and they feel so strong that I feel like it's so hard to, I mean, I guess part of me is, they just feel so strong. So what I'm asking is about the subconscious. And my understanding, I don't know if it's true, is that like the subconscious holds many of our beliefs about the world, which create a sense of separation, and about ourselves that creates a sense of separation. And these patterns just keep coming up. And I know you've talked a lot about just kind of being aware of them and just letting go, you know, being aware how they affect you in your body and relaxing and letting go and coming back to yourself, or that special space, etc. I'm wondering, how does that eventually, I mean, I guess ultimately it's about emptying those vasanas, so they just eventually all just completely disappear, dissolve. But how does that practice in that moment? I get that it's gone for the moment, but how does, by keeping doing it, how can that actually cause them to completely disappear? Because I feel like I really need, well, that's why yeah. And part of me just wants to know that, just to go for it with some of my patterns. I'm just feeling overwhelmed by some of them sometimes. They seem so strong, but I'd like to know there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all for nothing.
Definitely not. It's not all for nothing. No effort is in vain. It's accumulating something very precious that makes you stronger and stronger, even in the midst of the process you are not quite aware of. Now, you're right. Many powerful patterns are there totally in the subconscious. Many times we have made decisions when we were babies, when we were very little, and then after that, that was pushed in the subconscious, but it's there and influencing our life, our decisions, our way of behaving, our way of reacting to the situations, and whether we are experiencing them happily or always in pain. And as long as that pattern is subconscious, of course, we cannot directly work on it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be subconscious. Then it would be conscious, and then you could directly work on it. But what we can work on is when it's manifesting, with the manifestation in the present. And definitely,
When it's manifesting, then we can be conscious of it. Is that right?
right. Then when it's
Conscious.
manifesting, then you become aware. Okay, now here I'm reacting again in ways that I decided I don't want to react. Obviously, there is that pattern that pushes me still. And then you can really simply, very consciously observe what is happening instead of just mindlessly repeating the same pattern over and over, and in that way actually strengthening the pattern. But when you become aware, oh, there, I decided that I don't want to react like this, but obviously it comes. The habit is there, the pattern is there. There is more work to do, but now I can observe, even if I cannot stop it. I can at least observe and see what it is doing and learn to relax all the tensions that is creating, at least to some degree, as good as we can. And while doing so, actually, it's like we are taking some of the energy that is locked in that pattern in the subconscious out, and it's getting less. Whenever you are consciously dealing with the manifestations of those things that are there in the subconscious, and you observe and learn to relax instead of going in the habitual trick and habitual thing and then justifying all the time. After all, I have a right in this situation to act like this and so. Well, after that being aware, it doesn't matter whether I'm in the right or not in the right. What matters is that I see that I'm pushing myself against my better knowledge into emotional reactions that hurt me. And I don't want to do that anymore. And then you see how those reactions come. You don't even try too much to control them, but just observe. But instead of being in the midst of it, a victim of the pattern, you see, you observe, you see what it is doing to your body. You see how it is affecting you energetically, and there you can learn to relax. And that relaxing, that consciously dealing with it, is weakening the pattern. Maybe after a few times dealing with a certain thing, suddenly it pops up and a lot becomes clear why it has been happening all the time. That makes it again easier to deal with it. But even if that is not happening, even if you don't see the whole chain, every time you deal with a pattern like this, by dealing with the manifestation in a conscious way and learn to relax, the pattern is getting weaker and eventually it's gone. It's losing its power. Definitely, it's not for nothing.
So it's like I just had this thought of like watering it, like when we identify with it, somehow it's almost like we're pouring water on that pattern in the subconscious, and it keeps growing or it just stays there. But if we don't, it's like it shrivels up. But yes, thank you for
Yes,
saying that.
right.
And one other question about
Yes.
pranayama.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing some pranayama at the moment. It's a half an hour meditation technique of different mudras, and then some bastrika and some different pranayama with different positions. When I sit down and do these pranayama, my mind does become very active. And with the mudras, I know that as you do the breath and you do the mudras, energy goes to different parts of the body for each mudra. And I guess, like, are there any other alternatives to calm the mind apart from, I've kind of been exploring that, apart from just putting your attention on the breath? Because, you know, sometimes I might go into my heart or while I'm doing it, but then I feel like my attention is going to my heart, and maybe my attention should just be on the breath so the energy can flow where it's meant to go. I don't know if what I'm thinking makes sense or not. So I just wanted to ask you, are there other ways of just keeping the mind kind of in check? And I mean, is there somewhere to put the mind's attention while doing pranayama? Is it just usually always on the breath, or can you do it in other ways that won't affect the pranayama in a bad way?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I ask another question to you. You said that when you do that pranayama, then your mind is becoming very active. And is this getting now, as you practice this pranayama, is it getting worse and worse, or is it about steady?
You mean the
mental activity?
Oh, it definitely gets quieter and quieter as the meditation and the breathing continues. Yes.
It's getting quieter. It's not getting worse and worse.
No, it's 100%. And I've been doing it for many years, 20 years or so.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Definitely helps me. Yes.
Right. So fine, you can continue doing what you're doing, and then while doing your pranayama and you feel like centering in the heart, you can very well do so. It's not that you are now obliged to focus totally on the breath only. If you feel like centering simultaneously in the heart or wherever you feel like while doing that exercise, then that is perfectly valid. You can do so. No problem about that.
And when you say centering, does that mean I can keep my attention there throughout it, or just when the thoughts are there, come back to the heart?
Yes. You said basically you put your attention on the breath when you do those exercises, but then sometimes no?
Yeah, so sometimes it might be on body sensations, or I haven't really stuck with one. It's probably more the breath. Yes.
Yes, you can be with the breath. I mean, obviously you are working with the breath when you do pranayama, but then at the same time, yes, if you feel like connecting with the heart, then whenever that awareness comes, then by all means don't block it and think, no, I shouldn't. But in contrary, open of simultaneously being aware of the breath and the energy that is flowing in the body, you center and relax. Then the mind will also quickly become quieter. That the mental activity that you say can happen when you do the breathing exercises will quieten down quickly.
That sounds really good. And just to clarify, I mean, that's everything you've said just feels so good. Thank you. To clarify, you're saying, I mean, I could potentially just put my attention on my heart instead of just my breath, or you're saying it might even be might work quite nicely for me to have my attention on my breath and on my heart as well for a period, as I feel.
Yes, you can do both simultaneously.
That feels so good. Thank you so much, Werner.
You're welcome. I wish you luck with it.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello, Leora.
Now I'm Lila.
Now you're Lila.
Yeah. During this event, yeah. I took the name 4 years ago, but now I want it to be named.
So from now on, you would like to be called Lila.
Yeah.
So I shall do so.
Thank you. My question is about intimacy with totality. It's expression that I feel I have made up through how I've been feeling in these 2 passing weeks. It would be something like radical acceptance and all what you spoke about now about time. It's intimacy with the heart, but with totality in relation to there is no time except for what is happening now. And my friend died, the one who was supposedly taken by Hamas. She actually was murdered. And we found out the day before yesterday. It has something to do with death, which is very much now in our life here.
Mm.
And it just came to me, 2 words came to me like that. It's intimacy with totality. I don't know if it makes any sense to you.
Just to understand what you have been saying. Last time you said you have a friend, a lifelong friend who lives in Gaza. And that's the one.
She was taken to, we thought she was taken to Gaza.
Yeah.
At the beginning, they said that many people were taken to Gaza.
Yeah.
But many of them didn't get to Gaza and they were actually murdered before. So they're not in Gaza. They're somewhere on the border.
Ah, yes.
And they haven't yet, I'm sorry I have to say that here, but they haven't yet been identified, many of them.
Yeah.
And she's one of the first people who were identified. So, yeah.
So you know, that's the friend you have been talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are still members of her family that we don't know anything about them yet.
Yeah, I see. Now I understand the situation.
Yeah.
And now that has made you totally connect with life and death and the totality.
Before realizing what is going on here now, which actually doesn't come with very intense inner speech. It's more connecting to the energy and to what is actually happening. And I don't even want to give it any names.
Yes. Yes.
So I just, I've just, I just feel I've been like flowing, doing my stuff every day, morning, afternoon, evening, eating, sleeping, letting go of myself. I can feel it very strong. It's not me who is doing it in a way, but I'm sane. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I feel that this thing you're talking about, being in the present, now has a full meaning for me.
Mm.
And it feels total. It feels total because we know so little. So all I know is that now I'm talking with you and my friends are listening to me, and it feels total. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I don't know. Intimacy is being in intimacy with my heart and with everything that happens.
Right. And that's exactly the good direction, how to do it, how to deal with a difficult situation like that. That instead of being in the mind and worrying your head off about what's going on and what has happened and what could happen on top of that, that you are capable in that intensity of the situation to bring the attention back home. And then if you want to call it like this, you can call it the totality. You are connected with the totality. The totality is not something that is defined. If you mean with totality, that I can agree to that expression, totality. There is that essence, and it's totally beyond all comprehension of small or big, or so you can call it a totality, but not with any limits that are somehow there, but simply something totally beyond comprehension, but the experience of it. We can connect and expand, and the experience keeps on getting bigger and stronger, more profound and expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an element of surrendering.
Yes, we have to surrender the petty little personality, me, I, we are holding on to because it stands in the way and wants to bring the attention back on that level
Right.
and worry about every detail that is going on. And somehow then being capable of letting that go. That very fact of not reacting in the usual personal habitual way, but bypassing that and coming back to that which makes the experience possible, is making a total, complete use of that intensity to help the attention to go deeper into that essence and expand the experience of it. And it may feel like what you express with being intimate with that totality.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Werner.
Good. Continue like this.
Okay.
Right.
Very supporting. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish you
Hari
well.
Om.
Hari Om.
Thank
Hari Om.
you.
Good morning, Werner.
Hello, Udi. Haven't seen you a
I
long time.
Yeah, I didn't have the time, but now I need that. And I will want to continue what Lila said.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and this time it's now, our life is so noisy. There are a lot of noise in our life.
Yes.
There is a big difference and a big contrast between thought, mind, the places that are staying now. And at least for me, it's bring me to a point of frustration that there is no way to come centered to my presence being. And this frustration just aggravates all the situation inside of us.
Yeah.
And how we can deal with this many forces that are pulling us toward different sides and prevent us for so long, for a long period of time, not to be able to center.
Of course, those forces, they have a tremendous pull. And yet, it's still possible to center. It's still possible because you are still there. And there is an aspect in you that is not affected by all that is happening. We may feel totally overwhelmed by the situation, by what is going on, which is understandable in that situation, but there is still always that aspect in you that is absolutely not affected by it. And we have to have at least the idea to attempt to look in that direction, not to think it's simply not possible when it is like externally like this. If we surrender to the idea it's not possible, then actually we are in hell. Then the circumstances are so big and overwhelming and make us suffer hell. But if you can remember, but no matter what is happening, there is that which makes the experience possible. It's here, it's now, it's not absent. It cannot be absent. And I can at least attempt. Whether I'm successful or not, I may not have the control over it, but I can attempt to look in that direction, and the very attempt makes you already more detached from what is happening, that the powerful forces that pull you left and right already start to lose some of their power. So by all means, try as good as you can. Remember, in a very simple way, just bring the attention back, center, breathe, relax, remind yourself to do so. Or if you're doing the self-inquiry still, then you can inquire, but to whom is all this happening? Who is experiencing? Not trying to get an answer to the question, but another way, like the breathing consciously, just to redirect the attention from all the tremendous things that are happening outside. It's still that silent center there, unaffected, unmoved, no matter what is happening.
I hear what you say,
Yes.
and still, it's not so easy. And one of the things that I do not succeed is to put myself in the center. Almost, I cannot think in those days on myself. Instead of that, there are many things that are with me now. It's me, my family, my friends. It's many things. And when I try to take myself and try to bring it to the center, I have the feeling that I'm pulling with me so many others that I cannot be separated from them now, because all my thought, all my things are so busy with them, because we are living together, because I'm taking care of people, and I cannot look on myself. Is not there now, for at least in my feeling. So it's very hard to try to center it on something that is so big. It's so big than me.
Center is not something small. A center is not a little circle and then there is nothing there. A center can, you have a center, but then you can be expansive as you want to be. It's the center is just the center of it. And taking yours, you said you cannot simply pick out yourself without including the others. But when you say in that context yourself, then you mean Udi, the person. And Udi is on the same level like the other persons, of course. But you can come to that center that is prior to the person. And then there you, Udi, and all the others are included in that. And if you are capable to do so, to center in spite of all the tension, in spite of all the restlessness, in spite of all the fear, the pain, the suffering, the horrors that are happening, the more you are capable of being centered in spite of all that, the more actually you're connecting it's not that centeredness makes you separate, that you put a wall there. In contrary, the more makes you connected with them, and something very strong and helpful is flowing through the manifestation, Udi, through all the others around it. So it's not in any way something selfish that you want to escape into some space up in the clouds and not face that what is happening on this level. You can face what is happening on this level and still be aware, but there is that aspect that is not affected. Connecting with that aspect is not an escape, in contrary, it's facing life in its fullness, and then something very strong flows from that experience into this space that those who are around you, they are also benefited by it.
Well, it's a good advice, at least for me, to know that this trying of centered and to concentrate and being here now is not a selfish process. Maybe it's concern me, but I will benefit others that are connected to me and supported by me by this concentration and clearing of my mind to this situation. Thank you so much.
It's the most unselfish act that you can do. It's not in
Thank you
any
very
way
much.
selfish. That
Yeah.
that thought may come. Then how can I go in a space where I'm feeling fine when I see all that pain around? But actually, it's a thought of the person that thinks we have to somehow be in the same pain. But that possibility is there for everyone. And if you make use of that possibility, then actually you're giving the greatest support to those who are with you, and not by being in pain together.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wish you well. Hari Om. Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Bye.
Hari Om. The first was Mariam. Then, because you can come later, huh? Mariam, you have to unmute. Ah, yes. There.
Yes. Hi, Werner. Hi.
Hello, Mariam.
Yeah, wow. And thank you, Udi and Lila, for what you already asked. It is interesting. It's often like that I have a question and then I'm listening and I feel like some parts of the question already being answered. But nevertheless, I want to ask you again because it's about some words and definitions which I found or learned about the last days, because I am studying a bit the philosophy of Devi Mahatmya, the story, which now is Navaratri, and about the goddess. And in that studying, yesterday I was watching a replay of the sessions, and she was talking about Mahamaya, and then it was talked about Maya and what is Maya and this delusional state we are in that leads to our suffering, and also about sanskara. And I wanted to ask you about these definitions, that I understood that sanskaras can be mental impressions, and maybe also something like you talked about now, that if we go into the mind and attach to our personal beliefs or opinions and all that, this is kind of sanskara. Do I understand that right? And also it can be like the cycle of birth and rebirth that we are bound to if we are not resolving sanskaras. Could you talk about that? And then I have 2 more questions around that.
Okay. Samskaras basically means just our inherent tendencies, and they are not positive or negative. Sometimes when people talk, you have to get rid of the samskaras, then they think this is all the negative tendencies that we have to get rid of. But samskaras simply means an inherent tendency, how we are acting, how we are manifesting in this world. And there can be samskaras that are very helpful. There can be tendencies that you have the tendency that you rather are introverted than always scatter your attention all over the place. That samskara is something very helpful, and you don't have to somehow try to destroy that. So it's a neutral term, samskaras. It can be negative and be an obstacle. So, and if it's an obstacle, it's better to address it and learn to get rid of it. And if it's helpful, then it's not necessary that we are trying to get rid. In contrary, we can nourish those tendencies that are helpful.
Okay. And would you say that because you said it's how we are acting and manifesting in this world, the tendencies, yeah? And yet, like manifesting in this world, would you say that this is karma? It can also be positive or negative?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Karma can be positive or negative.
Okay, and what about this? Because she was talking about that we can take sanskaras from the past or past lives into our new life. What does that mean?
That's the traditional teaching, that there we have the past life and there are unresolved problems. There are maybe bad things we have done, and then there is something hanging there. And then when we come into this life, that this has to somehow manifest in order to atone for what we have done, or then to just to learn a new lesson. Now, I'm not strictly holding on to the traditional teaching of that, but rather feel that being has maybe projected in the past in this world before, forgetting that actually it's a timeless being, but being totally then identified with the projection, with the personality manifest, forgetting the divinity of the origin. But then when that story is over, when that lifetime is over, this is withdrawn, and there it becomes clear, hey, wait a minute, this whole story was just a momentary projection. And then that being that has projected in a past life and is projecting now may decide this and this and this lesson I want to learn, and give somehow the energy into the current, and then this is what is already forming the samskaras. We are not here as punishment for past sins. We are here as an opportunity. And so that being projects, but then because of how the world is functioning at the present time, there is a forgetting when that projection arrives in this world as a baby, forgetting where we are coming from, but the intent that is there, why this being is manifesting in this world, is still there, and that you can call the samskaras.
Okay, yeah, interesting. So yeah, and then also she said something like, or it was taught in this old teaching, yes, it can be resolved, the sanskaras or the karma, through acquisition of knowledge. And then I asked myself what kind of knowledge it is. But when you were talking now to Udi and to Lila, for me, I translated it myself. I don't know what you say, but I translated in exactly this, the knowledge that there is an unaffected part in ourselves, the knowledge that we are not this or that, but we just be, we are. and always we have this unaffected part. Would you say that, or how do you say it, and how do the old teachers say it? What is knowledge?
There are two terms for knowledge in the Indian language. There is vidya, that is the knowledge of all the things. We can accumulate a lot of that knowledge. You go to the university and study a lot of stuff, and then you have a lot of knowledge about the subject. But then there is the direct knowledge of existence, and this is jnana. It's not vidya. And that knowledge is liberating you from the samskaras. Otherwise, if you just study the scriptures and accumulate a lot of knowledge in your mind, even if you read holy text, it's simply vidya. It's not that knowledge that will liberate you. You can read all the scriptures in the world, but as long as it is just to satisfy your curiosity, a mental exercise, then it remains vidya. It's not liberating, it's rather becoming a burden, all that knowledge.
Yes.
But that direct knowledge, and direct knowledge means experience, direct experience of the essence of what you are, of what really is going on. Of course, that knowledge is liberating us from the burden of those burdens that we are building up, as long as we are feeling separate, as long as we're feeling that I'm a person separate from everybody else, and I'm a victim of these circumstances, and I'm pushed by this and that we learn to see this person is just a role I'm playing, but I'm prior to that. That knowledge is liberating. Neutralizing the samskaras, neutralizing the karma.
Yes. Yes, that's what I thought myself, but she didn't explain it more. So I wanted to ask you, and it's beautiful. It's called Nihyana, you said?
Yeah, you pronounce it jnana, and
Jnana.
usually it's transliterated as JN, jnana.
Jnana. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Nice. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting because I thought now of the Sufi teaching about Rumi or Mulana, because I'm studying a bit also I'm experiencing it and studying it by whirling a lot in the last months.
Yeah.
Every day my sadhana now is like 30 minutes praying and kind of whirling dance, and connecting with the oneness by that. And it's exactly what I thought now about the story about Mulana and how he met his guru, Shams, or teacher. And first he was a very studied person, and he had already a lot of people around him, and he was teaching about Quran and everything. But then Shams came, and he made something with him. I don't know, that he started to send away his books, or he tossed them into a fountain. And then they started to dance. 40 days they were praying and singing, making music like this, and experiencing.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly what you were like when you explain about vidya and jnana, the difference, and it's very beautiful.
So he pulled him out of his accumulated vidya and gave him access to really develop jnana.
Yes.
Yes, right.
Yeah, thank you. It's now very nice how you explain it. For me, it's now very clear, and I can feel it. I can experience it better than know it.
Nice, good.
Thank you.
That's the point of it. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Werner.
Okay, Vikas, you like to come in before? There you are. Hello.
Hello, Werner. Am I audible? Am I visible?
It's a bit funny, your sound, but try again.
Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you are visible, and now I understand you also better than before.
Great. So, a lot of deep discussions today. my question, I've got two questions today. One is regarding mantra sadhana or anushthan, mantra anushthan. And it is from a book which I am reading. So there it talks about Gayatri Anushthan, and it's like the minimum it is for 40 days. That he says that anybody in his life should do Gayatri Sadhana, Gayatri Anushthan for 40 days, once in a lifetime. But that Anushthan is so detailed, like so technical,
Yeah.
where it says that you have to get the mantra, it should be made alive, and you get it to yourself. There is crowning of mantra, then there is bridging of mantra, and then um, there are so many other things which he talks about. And at one place I read that if you start doing it from evening, it will become next day morning.
Mhm.
So it is such a long procedure. So what I was thinking is like, if I just repeat that mantra, won't I get anything? Like if it is so technical, it has so much of rituals in it, then will I not receive if I just do my normal chanting?
Mm.
So this is my first question. And my second question is regarding this dreams. Like there are few dreams which I have felt that they have reoccurred in my life, and I have started feeling that uh, they keep coming again and again. And there must be. Is it possible that it is because of my past life? They are not certainly very great dreams and to connect with, but is it possible that it is because of my past life that these dreams come to me?
Uh, you said those dreams. What happened? You had them the whole life, and they somehow they directed you, or they influenced you, or what? What exactly did you say?
Yeah, sometimes I feel that they have influenced me. Yes.
Influenced you. Yeah, right.
Yes.
In a positive or in a negative way.
Negative way.
Uh-huh. Right. Okay. Shall we remain first with the dreams, since we are already talking about the
Okay.
dreams? All right.
Okay.
Where they are coming from, I cannot just say whether they come from past life or wherever, but there is something there in your subconscious which has already been there as a child, and it's still there, and sometimes it comes to the forefront in a dream at least. And then you feel it has an influence also in your waking state and in your life. But if you are aware of this, then you need not be a victim of that influence. Then even if those dreams come once in a while, then when you feel that there is in your daily life somehow a connection to those dreams and the negative energy that is there manifesting in the dreams, then don't be afraid. Don't be a victim. Don't think it must now, because it's there in the dream, it has to manifest. But you can see, okay, that influence is there, but when you see that influence, you step a step back, you just feel the negativity of the energy, feel how it is trying to push and pull you into actions. And when you see that, you can relax and it need not manifest. Then it loses its power over you. And then if you learn to do so in your waking state, then also gradually the, the power in the dream may disappear and the dreams may disappear. But you can not necessarily directly work on the dreams, but you can be aware, okay, that is there and it looks for an opportunity in my life to come in and to influence. If you are not aware of it, then you cannot do anything. At least if that happens, it has pushed you, you become aware afterwards, then don't feel guilty, but just see the situation, feel the energy that you felt, and there you can detach from it and see how it is manifesting at that time when you remember. When it's too late, when it has already happened. But when you see it coming, When you feel that influence is coming again, that one energy that you are also touching in your dreams, and it wants to pull you into actions that are unfavorable, you know it's not helpful, it's leading into negativity, there you can just deal with it energetically. You see that energy come, you see how it is manifesting in your body, you see the tendency to put it into actions, but then if you see all that and you are physically, energetically aware and relax, then that action need not be done. Then it loses its power to influence your life negatively. And the more, so as I said, sometimes it may happen you are not aware, and then afterwards you become aware of it, and there you can at least afterwards work on it. You remember the situation, you still feel in the memory that energy coming, and you learn to objectify it instead of being a victim of it. You learn to observe how it is influencing your experience right now, physically, energetically, and learn to relax. And if you do so with that memory, then you catch yourself earlier and earlier, and sometimes you will catch yourself before things happen, and there you can already deal with it energetically, that it loses its power to influence you. And if you do that consequently, then gradually, indirectly, you're working also on the dream state, that power also is getting less and less, and maybe the dreams disappear. Shall we leave it and go to the first question?
Yes.
Okay, now that instruction how to do that Gayatri mantra is very tough, and it involves a lot of stuff, and you wonder whether you have to do all that or whether you can just repeat your mantra and have, in spite of that, a good effect. Yes, you can. If you can do that with an innocent heart and opening up to the Divine Mother that you are invoking with the mantra, feel that divine presence, feel that connection, definitely that mantra will have a good effect. But if you do it with a bad conscience and think, I'm not doing all the rituals that are prescribed, and have a bad conscience all the while you're doing it, then it may have a negative effect. So if you feel this is just too big a story that you want to do all the rituals in all the details and spend all the time for that, you can very well come right to the essence, just do the mantra, connect with the Divine Mother, be pure and innocent in your heart with it, and then definitely it has totally a good effect. And if you feel that the doubts are coming in the mind and it starts to create a bad conscience that I'm not doing all the rituals that were prescribed, then see that thought, see that energy, and let it go. And remember that I told you, yeah, if you feel like doing all those rituals and doing all those steps, you can. But if you don't feel like, you need not, just connect like a little baby, innocent, with the Divine Mother, with that, feel that divine presence while you're repeating that mantra, and definitely there is only good that comes out of it.
Right. Thank you, Werner. Thank you so much. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. There is a little disagreement nearby. There are monkeys who want to come in the garden and dogs that are not happy about it. So maybe we'll have a little noise going on. I see, Andreas, you have opened your camera. You like to come in?
Yes.
Hello, Andreas.
Hello. I got a question concerning samskara.
Yes.
As far as I know, it means to put together, in German zusammen machen. And can it be understood in the way too that it is you said it's like the tendencies that how you create your karma. Can you understand it in like a constructivism, that it is how you construct your world? Because in Buddhism the term is used too, and sometimes it's meant in a very broad way. And one of the, I mean, it's a lot of different contexts, but it's also said like that monkeys, there are the samskaras of monkeys and snakes and gods and whatever. Can you explain a little bit on that?
Right, I said it's just a tendency. It's you can say with your tendencies, with your way of putting things together, you are creating basically your reality, your life, your karma. And it is a neutral term. Now, in the Indian tradition, there are actually two terms that basically mean the same. That is samskara and vasana. And often people use samskara for the good tendencies and vasana for the bad tendencies. But actually, it's just in the Sankhya and yoga philosophy, they call it samskara, and in Vedanta, they call it vasana, and it's a neutral term. It's somehow a tendency how we are influencing. And this starts on an unconscious, subtle level, that we are influencing the energies that are building up. And it's also coming out in a very conscious and more grosser level, that we have the tendency that this is happening, I'm reacting like that, and this is happening, I don't like it, I don't want it, and push it back. So it's that inherent tendency that you're right, you can say they are the things that are constructing our day-to-day reality.
Like it's a very prominent term in the cycle of dependent origination, which is a Buddhist model of maybe how we create our world. And it says like that samskara influences, or it like makes, or no, makes is not good. Like it is like, yeah, like consciousness is dependent on samskara. It's influenced, as a samskara influences very much the consciousness, and it's so I thought like they make distinctions between like verbal samskara, psychic samskara, and I think even, oh no, I don't know, the third one, maybe bodily samskara. So so I thought about like, yeah, it's how we construct the world, because you often say like the world flips into existence by moment to moment, and I thought like samskara is the process of by which this is done.
You can say so. I cannot tell you, I'm not enough familiar with the subtleties of the Theravada teachings and its philosophy and its terms. So I cannot say what exactly they mean there and there and there. But you can say those inherent tendencies, they are doing that, and we can call them samskaras. And then if they want to split them up into all kinds of different samskaras, they can do so.
Yeah, I thought maybe you experience it by yourself, like how the world pops up into being.
I'm saying it often to you, this world is not as real as it appears to be. It's very similar, like a dream. Like when you are in a dream and you are not aware that you are dreaming, then your experience is real and the world is real that you are experiencing there. After that, you wake up and say, oh, it was not real. But while you are experiencing it, they appear to be very solid and real, even if it had other properties and other laws than this world, this waking world. But this waking world is very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. And there is a base, an energetic base. It's not just our one personal brain activity that creates this world. There is that base there. But then many personal consciousnesses. There is only the one essential consciousness, but it has its own centers of perception, and many different personal consciousness can join in that matrix that is there, in that base. But then how we are experiencing it, what we are making it, is very much a personal creation, a mix of the base that is there, but then very much colored in all our daily experiences, in all our daily actions, in our reactions to the circumstances, and how we build up our life, how we relate as a person to other persons. That is very much our personal world that we build on that base. And if we change that inner experience, if we change that inner attitude, then the experience of the world also will very much change.
Is the identification with the body and mind also some kind of this dreaming up?
Yes, this is just an instrument through which we are connecting with this level. And the identification with this instrument becomes the source of so many troubles, that then I am, oh, there's some smoke in the air, makes me cough. This identification with that instrument, of course, shapes very much the mental attitude. Then it's the me and the others. And once this is established, then the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, the reactions center so very much about the me, I, me, mine, the whole day long. But if we detach from that identification, but still we see, okay, there is that expression of myself, this body, mind, and deal with that body, mind as an expression of the self, as an instrument to connect on this level, then your attitude, your outlook will change drastically, and invariably it will influence what is happening in your life, as well as your experience, how you experience this world. That means your own world experience will change.
What does that mean to regard it as an expression of myself?
You are that which makes the experience possible. You are that being, timeless, spaceless. You are not born. You are not going to die. And an expression of that being you are projecting into this time-space continuum, and that expression is called Andreas. This is just a role that you are playing. It's not what you are prior to that. It's not separate from what you are. It's an expression, an aspect of yourself, but you are so much more than that.
Okay, I have to listen to this again.
You are welcome to do so. Shall we
Is there time?
Huh?
Is there time for one more short question?
Okay, you can do.
It's very. I have kind of a hay fever right now, which I mean, it's especially in the morning during my meditation, and my nose is running all the time, producing mucus, and it's itching.
Yeah.
And it makes very. I mean, normally I concentrate on that area, but it makes it very difficult, because it's like, yeah, the more I concentrate, the stronger I feel the itching. Mm-hmm. What to do about it?
Maybe you do just that. You put your attention on that place, on the itching, accept that it is itching, and then you let it run and wipe it off. But instead of trying to avoid it, at least as long as you can. If it's getting too much, you stop that. But for some time, let it itch and let it increase itching and put the attention there and try to relax. And actually, sometimes if we do that with physical difficulties and we put the attention in it and they become stronger and you are capable of relaxing, then actually you are sending a lot of healing energy and it goes quicker. But you don't have to force yourself now to put your attention all the time there, but to do it as an exercise. Not immediately to withdraw, but rather, okay, I put the attention there and the itching is increasing. Then stay with it and relax. And the itching is increasing. Stay with it and relax. And the itching is increasing even more. Stay with it and relax. And then it's like you're sending a lot of prana in that region and in the whole system that is connected with, which is having a very healing influence.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om. Okay, my friends, I think we stop for today. There have been quite deep questions today. I guess we let it be with that and let those sink in. And we may continue after 1 week if there are unasked questions. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.